Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA, Dawson here, back with another video of the NFL Week 4 recap, recording this on a nice little Tuesday. We're about to record power rankings, predictions, stuff like that, and I felt like it was a good time to go ahead and record this. Been lagging behind a little bit, starting to feel a little bit better. Just have been dragging the last few days, and hopefully I'll kind of get back in the full force here, but we're going to roll. My voice is a little weak today, but I'm feeling overall a lot better. So I'm going to kind of touch over some things with week 4 in general, and then we're just going to go from there. Sound good? Sound good. Perfect. Move to the first Thursday night game. Well, the Thursday night game, the first game of the week. We're going to look at the Lions going to Green Bay, 34-20. Very good performance by the Lions overall. Jared Goff being solid as usual. Did throw a pick, though. David Montgomery was really the story of this game and really ran through the defense of the Packers and Lambeau Field and really just kind of took a hold and made the Packers, or the Lions, the Packers daddy. Just looks like how it is. The receiving game overall still strong. Monte Brown did find the end zone. And on defense, which I found out in an earlier video, that defense for the Detroit Lions actually is very solid. 2 interceptions, a couple sacks, probably about 4 or 5 looks like. Overall, pretty good game from the Lions side of things, but that is not to say that the Packers did horrible as well. Jordan Love had mixed emotions games, not great completion attempts, but good yardage, touchdown, 2 picks though, very unfortunate. The ground game was nothing. The receiving game, Romeo Doubs really led the way there, but there's only one from Christian Watson. They got a touchdown. So Christian Watson, a lot more relevant this year, or a lot more relevant this game than previously in this season, I should say. Sorry, kind of get my thoughts all together still. Finally kind of able to start playing a little bit. Defensively, not too much from the Packers, to be honest, from you. I mean, it is a divisional opponent, so anything can happen. But the Lions really showed out here, and I'm very happy to see the progress they are at. But not too much there. But we're going to go to London for the Falcons-Jacksonville games. Not games, and see how they did. I did watch this one a little bit. Desmond Ridder, better, I guess, than before, kind of. The ground game has been what's carrying the Falcons' success in any shape and imagination. Jonnu Smith apparently is doing pretty dang good compared to like Kyle Pitts, so maybe take care of that, I guess. The Falcons not really defensively did it much. Richie Grant did get a lot of tackles as well as Nate Landman. But otherwise, it was kind of a quiet game from Falcons, who did lose 7-23 to the Jaguars, who only just had a solid game. Trevor looked good. The run game looked The receiving, Christian Kirk has been the number 1 target last few weeks, except for the week 1, I believe, with Calvin Ridley being the main focus. But he did get a touchdown, so, I mean, take that as you will. But 2 targets. Well, not 2 targets, 2 receiving completions. I think he got targeted a few times, 4 times maybe. Otherwise, outside of that, the defense did fine. It was, subpar, but Josh Allen was really the big story there, getting 3 sacks. And that's pretty much it. That's really quite a story there. Jaguars kind of showing what they're kind of capable of, and the Falcons maybe showing their lower tier team overall. Moving on, we got the Rams at the Colts. Good game from here as well. I actually really enjoyed this one. The parts I caught. The nervous kind of tickings for this is I really don't know if I'm high on the Rams. 319 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Matthew Stafford's been doing good this year. I kind of watched this game, and this is the first Rams game I think I really properly watched Matthew Stafford. And he just doesn't look like Matthew Stafford I remember going to the Super Bowl. And obviously it's age, obviously it's wear and tear, obviously it's a lot of things. Obviously it's, the overall team isn't just together. The rushing game's still strong, defense is better than I thought it'd be, and the receiving weapons are there. Like Puka Nacua has been doing great, 1 touchdown this game as well as 163 yards. But something about Matthew Stafford doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term solution. Well, obviously, we never knew it was going to be a long-term solution. We always knew it was never going to be a long-term solution, but it seems like he's finally starting to regress and starting to get to that area where maybe he has a couple more years of this level of talent, I guess. Makes me kind of nervous for him. Anyway, defensively, they did fine. Obviously, it was a mid-scoring game, I'd say. While Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, just could not get anything properly going. I will say that's one thing about the Rams defense. They were able to put some pressure on him. Rushing wise, fine. I mean, Anthony Richardson did get in for a touchdown on the ground. Receiving, everybody kind of got some love. No big surprise there. And defensively, kind of quiet from them as well. But the Colts were still looked fine. They just don't. They look very. The best way to describe it is that they just look very inconsistent playing against mid-level teams, and that's why they're not really doing well. That's why I don't see them doing great. They're kind of doing like the Ravens. They had a great game against the Ravens. Outside of that, they're kind of just in that mid-range, and I don't know how excited I really am for the Colts this year. But with a good draft and a good offseason, Colts could possibly be a really fun, exciting team, especially once some of the younger guys on the Indianapolis Colts kind of develop a little bit. Either way, Rams pick up the win, and we're gonna move forward. Ravens destroyed the Browns 28-3. It's not even a big surprise there, to be honest. After watching that game, like barely anything, I did predict the Browns to win. I think the Browns are kind of, I don't know. We'll talk about them in a second. Lamar Jackson, he's on the ground weapon, but he honestly didn't even really do much yardage wise. He just got 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the air. 15 for 19. I mean, honestly, it was really more of a split carry game. You know, Gus Edwards got a lot of the carries. Justice Hill did a little bit. Lamar Jackson did do a few attempts. Melvin Gordon was involved. Everybody kind of did a little bit of everything. Mark Andrews still showing he's the favored weapon there. Zay Flowers getting some love there too, though. Defensively, mostly interceptions, but that's mostly of the Browns offense, unfortunately, not having Deshaun Watson. Say what you will about Deshaun Watson. He's better than what Dorian Thompson-Robinson did. 3 picks for 121 yards. Welcome to the NFL. Run game really did nothing. They even put Pierre Strong out there for a little bit. I mean, but obviously with 28-3, they had to do something more in the passing game, and passing game did not work out. So Deshaun Watson would have given him a better chance at least, but nobody really got used this game, so everybody kind of suffered. And defense really didn't hold up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I thought they would have a better matchup in Cleveland. Even defensively, I thought they would kind of be better. But it was kind of rough. It was kind of rough to see. I kind of turned it off and was like, "Yep, we're just gonna go ahead and take that L," because I took a pretty fat L. There you go. Like this is I'm seeing this L. You see this L? Boom. I'm taking that L. This is like you taking that L. I'm taking the L. You know. So I'll kind of wear this real quick. Boom. Well, no, wait. I don't know. I guess on the camera it looks whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm taking this L. Beside that point, Kareem Hunt got a little bit too. It was just quiet. The Ravens are a really good team, really solid. The Browns are just struggling to find themselves, and especially Deshaun Watson. I think he's gonna be back next week. Well, I guess they have a bye week, don't they? So he'll be back in the first game, I'm pretty sure, after the bye week. But otherwise, the Browns are starting to get to that worry zone for me. Moving on, we got the Vikings at the Panthers. Weirdly enough, the Vikings won through their defense rather than their offense this game, while the Panthers kind of just were more mid, I guess, is the best way to describe it. That was kind of the story for me. Kirk Cousins, 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, 12 for 19. Never throws for that few passes, I guess. The run game ran through Alexander Madison, but they did utilize Cam Akers, who did some performing stuff out there. It even got involved in the passing game a little bit for some nice yardage. Jay Jettas, of course, is Jay Jettas. TJ Hawkinson got a couple passes there. Defensively, like 5 sacks and no picks, so they still managed to do a lot of 3 and outs is really the best way to describe it. So I mean, 5 sacks is still really good against a struggling Panthers O-line. Bryce Young though looked good, 25 for 32, 204 yards, one of his better games. No picks, no touchdowns, so kind of just there. Run game was nothing pretty much with Miles Sanders. I think suffering from some kind of injury. I think right from what I remember. I didn't watch this game all the way through. A lot of these games I really didn't watch all the way through. Receiving game, Adam Thielen, Terrence Marshall Jr., and DJ Chark are the main 3 there, but DJ Chark kind of didn't get anything as well through this game. Defensively, I mean, they picked off Kirk Cousins, let's see, Kamu Grugier-Hill, and Sam Franklin Jr. Good job on that regard. I mean, but otherwise, it's kind of quiet for them defensively as well. Just kind of more of seemed like a sluggish game between 2 0-3 teams who now have solidified the Panthers being the winless team so far. So 2 undefeated teams, 2 all-defeated teams so far. And then I've already talked about the Panthers. Bengals at Titans, dude. I don't know about the Bengals anymore, man. I'm going to reflect this in the Power Rankings video later this week for y'all. But, man, the Bengals are just something. 165 yards, 20 for 30. Like, what happened to Joe Burrow? I mean, I get it. He's hurt. They need to rest him. But, like, feels like he's not doing anything. The receivers are even getting hurt. Not hurt, but, like, hurt from the statistics point of view. Teagans, I believe, is going to be out for a bit. Excuse me. Whoa. I'm going to keep that in. Jamar Chase, of course, still the main focus there and getting a little bit of the fun there from Joe Burrow. Run game's doing fine through Joe Mixon, and that's fine. Even the Bengals defense has never been the strongest thing in the world, but it especially just did not run very well here, especially against a really good game at Tannehill. Even Derrick Henry got a good touchdown pass, and he really dominated on the ground, even got a touchdown there. The receiving game, DeAndre Hopkins, goodish game. Nick Westbrook Iknu or whatever, pretty good for him. Good old shout out to Colton Dow who played this game. I think he got targeted once from what I remember, but good for him. Otherwise, it's kind of quiet outside of that. Couple end zones. Josh Weil, good for him getting a touchdown. Defensively, is more of just a stopping the running, which they kind of did, kind of didn't. Joe Mixon, I believe, got out for a couple good runs, while he also did get stopped up a couple times. Otherwise, I mean, Tennessee Titans really proved some grit here. We'll see. Really, the story here for me is, are the Bengals going to actually pick it back up, or what is going to happen to them? What are they going to end up being? If they don't pick it up soon, then they might be in trouble. While Tennessee Titans are like more of the story of, can they be legit? Can they find consistency in Tannehill or Malik Willis? Will Levis apparently is out, so it's just finding that consistency and making sure they can win these type of games, especially against hard-hitting teams like the Bengals who are struggling. Meanwhile, going to the Bucks at the Saints, Bucks are still kind of legit. I'm kind of putting Bucks in this regard, that they're a fringe top 10 team. They're a team that's right outside the top 10 in terms of overall play, but they just cannot compete against those top teams, at least so far from the one experiment we have with the Eagles. But they're beating these mid teams, and they're winning against these mid teams, and they're doing it solidly because Baker Mayfield looks really good consistently, even through the Eagles game. Run game was nothing special. Receiving, Chris Godwin actually got a lot of the love here. Defensively, again, nothing like special stat wise. Like 3 sacks with Vita Vea getting 2, and 1 interception from D. Delaney. Otherwise, Saints are still struggling. Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, all these guys. Even Jameis Winston came out there and threw a pick. Derek Carr is not looking good. I believe, is he hurt? Hurt again? I can't remember. I didn't really watch a whole lot of this game either. This game probably less than a lot of the other games before. Alvin Kamara got 13 passes, by the way. This is a little fun fact. 13 passes, 33 yards. Like, a bunch of chuck down passes. They weren't doing crap with that. Otherwise, Michael Thomas is the only other big receiver going on. Defensively, like, they got a pick. That's about it. That's about the quietness from the Saints there, who I'm kind of getting less and less high on as the weeks go on. Big story of the week, the Dolphins taking their first L to the Buffalo Bills, 48-20. Dude, the Bills might be legit. The Bills might be a legit biggest, best team this year, capitalizing off the Chiefs, lackluster start to the season, and the Dolphins kind of being more of a one-dimensional team. This just shows if they face a good defense, they might have struggles on offense, and their defense can't keep up with some of these high-powered offenses, and this kind of makes the Dolphins mortal. 20 points is still nothing shy of putting up, but like 48 points being put on you is pretty good. Good revenge to see the Bills kind of put the Dolphins in their place. I did predict Dolphins because I thought their high-powered octane offense would at least maintain through one game against the Bills. But it wasn't Buffalo, so, I'll take that. I'll take that L. Tua didn't even do that bad. 25-35, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 282 yards. It's still a good game. Like, I'm not going to, crap on him for that. Devon Achane or Achney, whatever, still is doing really, really well. I don't know if he's necessarily the number one running back there, but he's doing better than Raheem Mostert, so take that as you will. Receiving, I mean, they kind of quiet game from the two main guys. They really did a good job of locking him down. I did watch a lot of this game. Defensively, again, the Dolphins really didn't get much going against Josh Allen in the offense there. I mean, the offensive line for the Bills, I never really known them to have like an overly strong offensive line, but it's good offensive line. And Josh Allen just had a game. 21 for 25, 4 touchdowns, 320 yards. Even ran one in, I believe. Yeah, ran one in. The ground game outside of that was kind of but Josh Allen himself just was precise to the point, got it done. Simple to the point, ended the drives as quickly as possible. Stephon Diggs had a field day, 3 touchdowns with 6 of his receiving, so like half his receiving receiving completions were from touchdowns. Were touchdowns, so that's pretty cool. Gabe Davidson got involved, Dalton Kincaid, a little bit involvement, so everybody got a little bit of love this game from the Josh Allen side of things. Defensively, they did really good. I mean, the stats kind of don't show it as well. I think 4 sacks, 1 pick from Micah Hyde, by the way. Good for him. Gregory Rousseau, by the way, getting 2 sacks. Good for him. But they really just stopped this covered. I don't know how to describe it. They just covered Tua and the offense pretty well, and They weren't able to capitalize. The Dolphins weren't able to capitalize for a victory. So I don't think this really means much in terms. It's a divisional game again, so you can take that as you will. I think Dolphins are still a really strong team. It's just that they came mortal a little bit, and shouldn't get as high off of them. While the Buffalo Bills, I mean, they're starting to look like the team. Like they're raising up into that top 2 range in the power rankings, or near that, like, the top mark people. I think they're the only team outside of the Eagles and 49ers that look like, hey, maybe they are like kind of legit. So we'll see as the weeks go on what the Bills can do. Meanwhile, the battle of the bad, the Russell Wilson. By the way, Russell Wilson's looking still really good. He's playing good football. 21 for 28, 223 yards, 3 touchdowns, is solid. The ground game actually ran it through Jaleel McLaughlin, I believe how you say it. There's a Majay P run, really didn't get anything going. Receiving, everybody got a little bit of love. Jaleel and Cortland Sutton got touchdowns there. Good to see. Defensively, the Broncos did better. That's one thing to say. The Broncos did look a lot better, and I did watch this game a little bit too, of course. I actually enjoyed the game. I think it was fun because I think these are two teams that there's some glaring problems for both these teams. And it's kind of fun seeing each of them exploit the other, because Justin Fields kind of stepped up his game and the defense kind of stepped up their game, and so it kind of made it more like a brawl. Now the Bears stepped it up faster, and the Broncos kind of just recapitalized at the end there with shutting down Justin Fields. It was more like a Bears first half, Broncos second half, and it's really cool to see and kind of a good story. Granted, I was kind of panicking the whole time. Well, I don't want to say I was panicking. I pretty much contained myself to saying either we're not the worst team in the NFL if we win this game, or we get Caleb Williams. That's pretty much how I looked at it. So take that as you will. Justin Fields did have a field day here. Field day, you get it. 28 for 35, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm not giving them too much credit though. The Broncos are one of the worst defenses in the league. So take that as you will. Rushing, Khalil Herbert did really well. Cole Kmet did in the receiving game get 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore got a little bit involvement. Darnell Mooney even got a little bit of involvement as well. So they really involved a lot of people. But defensively in the Bears, they were just not really anything to say too much there. It's really just the Broncos messing up themselves, than it was more the Bears defense actually doing something. Commanders put up a fight against their divisional opponent in the Eagles, which actually was another entertaining game. I didn't watch too much of this one, but one of my friends did, and they thought it was pretty fun. Sam Howell did very solid. Good to see that he's not just doing crap all every game. 29 for 41, still not great, but I mean, it's not bad. Rushing, kind of a quiet game for Brian Robinson, but I mean, it was against a tough defensive line of the Eagles. Scary Terry got involved. Curtis Samuel did well too. Defensively, it's hard to keep the Eagles down, but 3 sacks and kind of holding them to 34 points. Either way, Jalen Hurts on offense just looked solid this game. He just looked good. I mean, 25 for 37 is not the best stat in the world, but 319 yards and 2 touchdowns does help kind of, fix that a little bit. DeAndre Swift had a quieter game, got a touchdown there, so I mean, take that as you will. Even in the air, he really didn't get much involved. Kenneth Gainwell's used a little bit. Otherwise, A.J. Brown was a really big breakout game for him. He really killed it out there. Fun to see there. 3 sacks from Nicholas Morrow. I don't even know who that is, to be honest with you. 5 sacks in general. Commanders and Eagles really matched up well against each other. Went to overtime, and luckily it was a good kick from, oh my gosh, who's their kick guy? Jake Elliott. Kick guy. Who really sealed the deal to get the Eagles victory. But this is a game they could have dropped. I mean, they dropped their first loss last year to the Commanders, so glad to see it didn't repeat themselves right now, because they do play one more time this year. I don't know when exactly, but the Eagles are a solid team. They're just showing consistency. Even though they're making it closer games, they're showing consistency. And Commanders showed, like, maybe they're not just a one-dimensional team. They have a tough division, and they competed. So, divisional game again, so take that as how you will, but not too shabby. Meanwhile, we go to the frauds of the century, possibly with a great team, a sleeper team of the century. Kenny Pickett really just did not get going. Mitch Trubisky came in for 5 throws and realized, hey, maybe we're not, as good there either. Najee had I think, improving game again. I think he's going up in yardage and usage in each of his rushing games. Receiving, he did get a receiving for 32 yards. So pretty cool there. Otherwise, he really just utilized the running backs in receiving. Like George Pickens, Calvin Austin III, and Pat Freiermuth all got 3, and they just could not get anything going for receiving at all. Defensively, it was kind of quiet from the Steelers too, man. They really couldn't stop C.J. Stroud, who had a good game. Now, I say a good game, even though his stats were 16 for 30, which is not good, but he just looked good. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't know how to express it to you to understand that CJ Stroud just looked like a solid QB out there. Like, he seemed like he had command, and he didn't really have any weapons. He's Nico Collins, who threw for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, who may have been better, who may have gotten better as a receiver, but he's also never historically been a great receiver. He's been the one receiver on this team that's been CJ Stroud's like person. Tank Dell, I guess, also usually has, but they swap between back and forth. The run game's kind of one-dimensional. Devin Singletary kind of gets involved with Dameon Pierce, but both of them kind of seem slightly mid, which makes sense. Defensively, I mean, they just look good too. It's 1 pick and like 3 sacks or something, but they just stopped the offense of the Steelers and put so much pressure on them that they just couldn't get anything going. Texans are kind of a scary low-key team, better than I think they are, and the Steelers are kind of worse than I thought they were. So I'm going to shrug and say, man, this is going to be an interesting season for both these teams, and we'll see how they keep on transforming. Meanwhile, go to the Raiders to Los Angeles. A little bit of this game, but the Raiders putting in, obviously, Aiden O'Connell as the backup. Really didn't interest me too much. Pretty bad stat line. 1 interception, 238 yards, 24 for 39. I guess it's okay, but not great. Josh Jacobs had a better game than in past games this season. Devontae Adams still involved. Josh Jacobs, of course, more involved in the receiving game. Defensively, nothing from really the Raiders this game. Well, the Chargers, Justin Herbert, not as greatest game. The run game really didn't do anything without Austin Eckler, so that's going to be a problem for them. Joshua Palmer kind of being the number 1 guy right now in this game. I should say Keenan Allen has historically in this season been the guy. So, but Joshua Palmer kind of took some capitalization on his 3 receiving touches, basically. And offensively, Khalil Mack just absolutely just single-handedly destroyed the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell apparently loved Khalil Mack so much that Khalil Mack just sacked him for 6 times. Asante Samuel Jr. getting 8 interceptions, also really cool. Otherwise, there wasn't really too much to this game. Justin Herbert did Defense did really decent, really decent, and the Raiders just are So we'll move on from there. Meanwhile, the Cardinals going to San Fran, and you know what? This is the game I expected more from, like the Cardinals from in a Cowboys-esque team. Was more of like they do well, but they just don't quite, reach that upper echelon of getting close to them. But with that said, Joshua Dobbs played well. 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 28 for 41 against a solid San Fran team. It's kind of scary. James Conner even did pretty good against a good defensive line. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, and Michael Wilson, especially Michael Wilson and Zach Ertz, kind of getting some love. Defensively, I can't really say much for the defense. They kind of sucked that game. But how can you do that when C-Mac really puts up 4 touchdowns in one game, 3 on the ground, 1 in the air? Brock Purdy, 20 for 21. I think it's franchise history, the best percentage of completions. 200. That's 20 plus. 283 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey just ran circles around the Cardinals, and then Brandon Ayuk, of course, got a lot of love in receiving and yards. Didn't get a touchdown though, and then defensively, just absolutely doesn't. I don't think it really shows. I don't think Joshua Dobbs got sacked that much, or even threw a pick. But they just hammered away from the offensive line for Joshua Dobbs to do really nothing. And the Cardinals' run game really did hurt in the beginning, where they kind of got something more going in the second kind of half area. Either way, just a really bounding game. I actually kind of liked it, though, because it kind of was fun seeing the Cardinals kind of be able to put up a lot of a fight. Meanwhile, the exact opposite of a fight, the Cowboys continue to just destroy mid-teams aside from the Cardinals. So, take that as you will. I get water bucketed for them losing to the Cardinals, but apparently Sheev's team can lose 35 points. Who knows? Mac Jones, though, did get sat for Bailey Zappi, who we realize is just not good either. Apparently, the Patriots quarterbacks are just not good right now. Rushing was fine. They got Zeke. There you go. For Zeke came back and fought against the Cowboys. Hunter Henry was the main target there, but still, Otherwise, defensively, the Patriots did what the Patriots do. They did do well defensively. Kyle Duggar was fighting for his life out there, trying to tackle everybody he could. But the Cowboys' offense is not really what leads. They just win. They're just able to keep consistently. Dak Prescott got a touchdown, 28 for 34, but they didn't get 38 points from Dak. They got the 38 points from their defense, who picked off twice. Did they do? Does it show forced fumbles? I guess not. I think they got a forced fumble for a touchdown. Very solid. Doesn't show as many tackles because they just absolutely killed the Patriots offense anytime it got going. obviously the offense from the Cowboys kind of was just whatever. CeeDee Lamb got a touchdown. Everybody else kind of got some yardage. And a lot of rushing in terms of just a lot of people involved. I mean, look at that. That's really crazy. What the heck? Deuce Vaughn? Who the heck is that? Even splitting with Tony Pollard. But I guess at some point they really just killed the Patriots and just shrugged and said, all right, sorry, guys. It appears the Dallas Cowboys built the best defense in the league, and they just continue to destroy teams with it. And they've consistently done that now. So it's just kind of intriguing to see that they keep on doing that and keep on and keep on and keep on. Beside the point. Moving on to the Chiefs-Jets game. I'm not going to say much about this game. This game pissed me off. I'm not someone who's a conspiracy theorist about scripting games. I think the NFL is not scripted in the way that we think, or that a lot of people speculate it is, of them showing like, hey, by the way, look at this. They're writing scripts for the season. They're going to make sure this person wins the Super Bowl. I'm not that kind of guy. Taylor Swift being involved, I mean, I'm sure some strings get pulled. I'm sure there's some things going on. I'm not going to be, betting lines, Vegas. I'm sure there's some things going on behind the scenes where a ref might be paid off or something. But there's just too many people in the NFL for them to all say, hey, Zach Wilson has to suck this game, or something along those lines. But this game is a game the Chiefs should have lost. But I get it. Maybe Taylor. Apparently, there's a conspiracy theory that if the Chiefs lose, Taylor Swift or players will turn against Taylor Swift for being there because it's like a bad omen or whatever. Patrick Mahomes had one of the worst games of his life, which was great because now I'm 4-0 in my fantasy, one of my fantasy leagues, and it's thanks to Patrick Mahomes because I faced Patrick Mahomes and he had to make up like 17 points and he didn't. So thank you. Rushing, Isaiah Pacheco did do really well. I'll give him that. Isaiah Pacheco's killed out there as the kind of number one option on the ground. And the receiving game runs through Travis Kelce, as always. Didn't get a touchdown, though, interestingly enough. Noah Gray got a touchdown. Rashee Rice wasn't utilized as much as I thought he would be, and I hoped he would be. Defensively, from Chiefs, they did fine. But the Jets are really the story. Zach Wilson deserved the win here. I'm not going to console and say he's the best guy in the world. He did a solid game. And I reflected that in my rankings, and I expressed some appreciation for the Jets here because defensively they also did and looked really good during this game. And I mean, everybody's getting a lot of love. Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, even everybody's kind of getting some love. On the ground, they were less impressive, but Breece Hall, with the few carries he had, really lit it up. And Zach Wilson didn't throw a pick, which is pretty remarkable. I'm gonna keep it there and just move on. But either way, Jets, you won morally in my heart. A game I did not watch really at all. I kind of tuned in for the second half after I recorded the video. And, yeah, it was nothing. Geno Smith did fine. He did what he needed to do. Drew Lock came in for some reason. I forgot exactly, but we showed what Drew Lock is. Kenneth Walker. He's done really well. Receiving, everybody got some love. Noah Fant got involved, which I think is very rare to see, in heavy usage at least. Defensively, I mean, they faced off against a really bad Giants offense, but they sacked it. What the heck? I didn't realize they sacked them this many times. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 sacks, 2 picks. At the end, one of them was a pick 6. Holy moly, Giants. What the heck is wrong with you? Why are you so bad? Daniel Jones, 27 for 34, 2 picks, 203 yards. Why did you complete all your passes, it felt like, but freaking completed two more of them to the freaking other team. Daniel Jones actually got some rushing here. Matt Breida did nothing. Oh, my God. What is this team? Oh, my gosh. I'm glad I didn't watch this game. What the heck, Giants? This looks like an awful... Just from the little I did watch, I know it looked bad, but gosh, dang. All right, Giants. I don't know even what to think of you anymore. Maybe that's a lot worse than I thought they would. Yikes. Gosh. I mean, how? Whatever. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut from there. Good for the defense, though, for the Seahawks. Anyway, that is week 4 of the NFL recap video from me. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you appreciate it and hope you liked it. Please enjoy the rest of the content of the channel. Now we're doing a new series on Mondays. We'll see how long you'll keep up for and whether we'll do a yearly review or what's called halfway point review or whatever. Either way, I've been really enjoying the time and all the videos and all the editing and all that for this channel. Thank you guys for watching, and please tune in for the rest of the videos. StraightA Dawson, out.